Guys, Anton here from Adventure Afrika, and we talk everything 4x4 and overlanding. And today we're sitting here at the Wild at their lecture room or lecture lapa, where the guys give their 4x4 courses. Got a lack of fire going, and with me I've got Joe, and I've got old Willem again. Guys, welcome to Recovery Point.
Thank you.
And
Nice to be back.
today we're talking a little bit tires. Now, Joe, you've got what? 450 years in 4x4 training?
Yeah, something like that.
45 years in 4x4 training.
Yeah.
Joe's from Gemini 4x4, and yeah, if you guys want to do some 4x4 training, chat to Joe. And obviously we've got Willem again from Independent Online newspapers.
Independent newspapers and IOL.
That thing, editor. And yeah, Joe, let's start with you. You see on Facebook all these guys complaining about their tires delaminating and tire just went off on the highway. Now I've got a reason why I think that happens. But what's your take on that?
All right. First of all, I think that people buy tires for the wrong reasons. Okay, 90% of the guys out there, they want an aggressive-looking tire because it looks nice on the car, but those tires are made for a specific area, for mud, for rocks, and 9 times out of 10, the people use or do that very irregularly. Okay, if you look at you coming from Joburg today, coming here 60 kilometers on road, going back another 60 kilometers on tar road, and if you do this whole track, it is only 14 kilometers. Okay, so 90% of your time was spent on tar road. Your tires should actually be a tar tire. Okay, now obviously people differ in what they do, but even somebody like me that's out there every weekend, I still spend most of my time on the tar road. So to go and buy a tire that was intended for mud for once a year, a holiday to Botswana or Mozambique, it's just crazy. So I think people buy the tires for the wrong reasons, and then things like you mentioned, they deflate the tire, then laminations start happening on certain brands. So again, it's a question of you need to buy the right tire and my advice at the training, stick to the tire that the car came out with. Toyota, Ford, Nissan, a whole lot of them, they do a lot of engineering, they do a lot of research behind it on what the people are actually using the cars for, and they put a tire for that on the car.
Willem, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, I mean, we've got, I don't know, I think there's about 16, 17 proper all-terrain tires now currently available in South Africa. But the interesting thing is, when last were you at a tire launch?
I think it was last year when BF Goodrich launched their KO3s. And I mean, just to get back to Joe's point, is that the manufacturer spent millions and billions of dollars on R&D. So stick to the tire that they came with. Obviously, you know, if it comes out of a highway tire and you want an all-terrain tires, most manufacturers have a preferred all-terrain tire. And what people forget is that you may have the most fanciest and expensive car in the world, but it's just 4 little pieces that between you and catastrophe, you know. So and I know pricing is an issue in South Africa, and there are so many Fongkongs out there. And you can phone a tire dealer and say, I need a 245, whatever size you want, and then he'll say to you, I have these recognized brands, and they cost, let's say for an all-terrain tire, anything between 2,500 and 3,500 rand.
No, try 2,500 to 6,500.
Yeah, obviously depending on the size,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But you know, on average, you're spending 3 grand per tire. But I have these who are, and then the salesperson will say to you, they're just as good as brand XYZ, but they're going to cost you 1,800 rand a tire. And so often people buy the cheaper one in the hope that somehow it'll work. And I've been on trails where guys have had the cheaper tires, and within 5-6 kilometers the sidewall's gone. There's a hole in the sidewall. So, you know, you get what you pay for.
Well, apart from that, I mean, here in South Africa, we've got certain rules and regulations, and And we are lucky to a sense that a lot of insurance companies are not really enforcing it at the moment. But when your vehicle gets homologated with a certain tire, that is actually the tire that you have to replace it with every time. But there's some leniency with us. As long as it's SABS approved, we're allowed to put the tire on. Now, we do get a lot of tires from Europe that is not SABS approved, but they've got the Euro mark standard on it. And in South Africa, we recognize that Euro mark as the same sort of quality testing that it went through here with the SABS. But a lot of these Fongkong tires, as you call them, the tires coming from the East, don't have a E standard or an SABS standard printed in on them. And that is a problem, because those tires are not tested for, first of all, for any conditions really. It's not gone through a recognized Bureau of Standards testing facility.
Yeah, but as far as I can recall, government is trying to prevent those kinds of imports. But still, just stick with the brands that the recognized brands, and you'll be safe. And just on that, interestingly enough, I was at a General Tyres event a couple of years ago, and now that you mentioned insurance companies, so there is a minimum tread depth that you're supposed to have, which is like almost the height of a matchstick.
Yeah, 1.6
yeah.
millimeters.
But many insurance companies will not value the claim because they say the tires are old. But there's no legislation in South Africa to say that your tires have to be
less than 5
less
years
than
old.
5 years, because generally 5 years is the accepted thing. So, so if my car stands in undercover parking with virtually no sun, and the tires are 6 or 7 years old, they haven't been exposed to the sun, and they haven't been driven that much. So, so it's a very difficult thing. And I'm sure that if it did come to that, you could argue to them and say, well, show me the legislation.
But
My
apart from
tires have
that,
to be-
I mean, I've spoken to the guys also, particularly the guys from General Grabber, as well as the guys from Michelin BF Goodrich, and according to them, a tire doesn't really have a shelf life. The only thing that kind of give you a shelf life is the wear and tear on the tire.
Absolutely.
A tire should last 100,000 Ks, for example. Whether it's over 3 years or 50 years, that tire should last.
Not entirely true. The manufacturers have now put pressure on changing they wanted a longer period that the tire is valid, because the polymers have become better, and so granted. But rubber still gets old. And if you go and look at caravan tires, boat tires that don't work a lot, don't have a high kilometers on them, you'll see cracks forming on them.
Not a crack.
That's the rubber getting hard. Okay, so eventually, same with the elastic band, eventually you're going to see holes in it. It becomes old. So there is a limit on, and there's no fixed limit, but there's a limit on how long rubber will last and is good. If you look at the Formula 1 tires, they go through a heat cycle, and then that tire is much better than it is when it's cold. Now, our tires don't go through that much of a heat cycle, but yes, they still do warm up. So a year-old tire that you buy now and put on your car will actually last longer than a brand new tire. Now that sounds wrong, but the tire, the rubber has now had time to mature, so it will last longer. But that is technical. That's not really getting.
I do, I often write pieces about how to keep your car safe and roadworthy, and before you go on holidays and things. So for many of us, we're not technical experts. So for us, okay, well that looks fine, and if you're unsure, just go to a reputable dealer, and tire manufacturer, tire dealer, and say, please have a look at my tires. What do you think? Give me an honest opinion. So in that way, you cover yourself and your family, because, as I said, there's only a couple of inches between the 4 tires that keep you from disaster.
But let's talk a little bit tire pressure. Now, we had a quick chat just before we started about when to deflate and when to have a stiff tire. And Joe, for me, the only real time that you need to deflate your tires is when you go on sand. Apart from that, rather keep it stiff, because you're going to prevent those side cuts and stuff from rocks and stuff, and you're also going to be protecting your wheels better, because you don't have that flex of the wheel when you're turning on rocks. But advice to people out there: when, how, and how much?
Okay, again, I would recommend do a proper 4x4 training course, because you will get guidelines. And just on that, and I don't want to specifically mention any brand names, but some of the sidewalls on the tires are harder than the others. So you get XYZ or XYZ, and the two sidewalls are not the same.
Well, let's talk highway terrain versus all-terrain versus mud terrain. I mean, that's
Correct.
an easy one to get the difference between the sidewalls.
Correct. So mud terrain, you'll have to deflate a lot more to get the same flotation on them as you would on an all-terrain tire, for example. So because the sidewalls of the mud terrains normally are harder, okay, they need to be deflated more. All right. Then you also get the 3-ply sidewalls and 2-ply sidewalls. So there's a couple of other factors. Then you get the light truck brand,
Light truck construction.
on the tires. So there's a lot of factors that come into play with this. And again, that I'm going back to what I said. Stick to what the manufacturer put on that car, because they did a lot of research for that.
Yeah, just to give you an example, a couple of years ago we were playing in Atlantis Dunes, and there were two 2.8 Defender 90s with the BMW motor. That just sounds so magnificent. And the one guy had a specific brand of mud tire on, and he literally had to take the whole valve out for it to give even, and I think, it was like, when you measured it, it was like 0.6 or something bar, and that was with the valves up, because the car is light and it has these massive sidewalls. And another guy that with a normal all-terrain tire, he just let it down to 1.6, and same car, same weight, same everything else. So your sidewalls and the make of tire makes an enormous difference.
And I hate the YouTube videos for that, because you get, we were there today, Hartse Klip, and you will get two different manufacturers. The one goes up there easily, the other one battles to get up there, and then immediately they say, no, this manufacturer is better than that one. What's the tires, what's the tire pressures, what's the weight inside the car, because that all makes a difference. The same with these stupid tug of war
I've never
videos.
understood that.
Unless you've got the same driver, which is impossible, okay, and you've got the same tires, same tire pressures, and the same weight on the back of that car, it means absolutely nothing.
No, it's clickbait.
Yeah,
It is clickbait.
clickbait.
And there's one specific brand that I see on Instagram quite often. And he says, check where this car can go, and then all of a sudden, but the Toyota can't go there. And I'm thinking, bro, I don't think it was a level playing field in this video. You're not telling us the whole story here.
yeah.
I mean, I say it so often, all 4x4s are equal. It's the nut behind the wheel that makes the difference.
No,
and if
absolutely.
you understand tire pressures and stuff, you'll be ready for whatever is coming in front of you.
And what I do also, I mean, I had mud tires on my Land Rover for years, and I absolutely love them. And people like them because they, like you said, they look really cool.
It's sexy.
And they look really cool. But, they have the decent sidewalls and things, but they're hellishly noisy. It's that thing where if you have an argument with your wife and she says, we'll speak on the way home tonight, you say, no, we won't, because that thing's going to make a noise.
You're not being rude.
No. And subsequently, I've got a pair of General Duratrack rugged terrains, which is a little bit more aggressive than a normal all-terrain tire, and the difference is just astounding. And the performance is almost just as good, because like you said, I used to, when I was younger, go doing silly things, climbing rocks and going into Lesotho and doing irresponsible things. And now the difference in drivability is so different, And then we can speak as much as you can in a Defender, but yeah.
But then also, the cars have changed. I mean, if you look at 40 years ago when I started with this, the cars were noisy, hard, It was a workhorse. It was never intended to be a nice family trip to Cape Town. You know, now, like you say, the cars are quiet inside, and you can have a nice, relaxing conversation. You don't want a noisy tire to intrude in that, and they do intrude.
Sure.
No, they really do. But the funny thing also about tires is that what people forget is now you put on a large motorway. The vehicle, for example, your 2.4 Hilux Raider comes out with a 265 R17 wheel. That for me is the perfect size. Yes, you can get now with the 2.8s, and most of the other 4x4s comes out with 18-inch wheels. This one's batshit crazy actually. It's got a 20-inch wheel on it, and it's a 4x4. Doesn't make sense to me, but anyway, the manufacturers decided on a specific wheel based on basically three things. It's fuel consumption, comfort, and road noise. You all of a sudden go from a 265 75, or let's say a 275 70 R17 on your Hilux, and you put on a Motorrad. It's a heavier wheel. You're not going to have that smooth roll anymore. It's a stiffer wheel, so you're going to lose comfort.
And
You're gonna lose
your
fuel
rolling
consumption.
resistance is more, so your
Yeah.
fuel consumption goes.
And you're going to lose the quiet interior, and you need to understand that. I mean, people complain about the V8 or the Land Cruiser's fuel consumption, but half the time it's because that guy has taken off the stock standard tire. Not half the time, I would almost say 90% of the time, and he's put on a 33-inch or a 34-inch, and in some cases even a
37s.
35-inch, and now he's complaining because fuel consumption went through the roof.
But on that note, I asked when I get a modified vehicle to come for training, hopefully not, but they do come, and the cruisers are prone to that. And then I say to the guy, on the way here today, how many times did you drive top speed? Okay, and then he said, no. I said, okay, but how many times did you pull away? 10, 15, 20 times, okay? When you put on a bigger tire, okay, if your car's engine is strong enough, it's going to be a little bit faster top end, but it's going to be lazy on pull away. So now what happens when the car is lazy on pull away? You put foot,
Yeah.
and that eats petrol, okay? So the people are changing things, and now even the cruiser now has got vehicle stability control, that little button that says off. If you've got that button in your car's got a stability control of some sorts. They've got different names for them. That stability control uses the tire size to do calculations. When you change that, you are interfering with the electronics in the car, to the extent that some of the Mercedeses will go into limp mode. They will send you back to Tiger Wheel and Tyre to go and put on the right tires.
Well, yeah, so tires is an interesting thing, and I think we need to revisit it again. But guys, I want to thank you for joining us today. Joe, thanks.
Thank you.
Willem,
Lekker.
Thank you for the opportunity.
and again, guys, if you want to do 4x4 trading, go and check out Gemini 4x4. I think, what's your website address?
www.gemini4x4.co.za.
And chat to Joe. He's here at De Wild. Lovely area to come and do your 4x4 training.
nice
There's a
track.
dedicated training course, training route here, but there's also lovely things to see in the mountain. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Guys, if you want to watch anything 4x4 and overland orientated, please join us, follow us, subscribe here at Adventure Africa channel. Cheers.